Less than 16 Joe Montana days until the Lions visit the Chiefs to open the regular season on September 7th. But first, we have a breakdown of the entire NFC from top to bottom. Kevin, what's up, brother? Good to have you back.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back.
Good, good. Durp, this is your conference. You ready to go?
Born ready, man. Let's do this.
All right, let's go back to Kevin real quick. Of course, you weren't here last week, so let's get your AFC division winners real quick.
Okay. Well, for the East, I have the Bills. North, I have the Bengals because until the Ravens or somebody else steps up.
Yep.
Titans, you all can laugh at me, but I mean the South, you can all laugh at me, but I got the Titans. I figured somebody's got to win that division somehow. And then for the West, of course, if you don't pick anybody other than the Chiefs, there's something seriously wrong with you.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna remember that Titans. Just like
Stranger
the
things
movie.
have happened.
like the movie,
Okay.
Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Yep. I will definitely be in contact with you in December on this show in early January.
If the
'Cause
Titans
I
win the
definitely
South,
don't
you're all
see
going to
that.
think
I'm
of me as
sorry.
Notre Dame. If they win the South, I'm going to think of me as Notre Dame.
All right. How about some of the key additions and subtractions real quick in the NFC since the Super Bowl took place? A complete overhaul in DC. Dan Snyder, he's out. Josh Harris and company is in. Plus, they welcome Eric Bieniemy as their play caller. Derps' Cowboys, they added Brandon Cooks and Gilly on defense, while they also lost Dalton Schultz to free agency. He went down I-45 to Houston. The Lions, they revamped their entire running back room, saying goodbye to their top two rushers in 2022. DeAndre Swift, of course, was traded to the Eagles, and Jamal Williams was sent packing. Derek Carr, he's now the signal caller in the Big Easy, while Tom Brady retired yet again. And heading out west, Brock Purdy is back on the field for San Fran, but Bosa is still a holdout. Let's go to the north, everyone. Durp, Minnesota, they won a lot of close games last year, while Detroit, they shocked a lot of people by winning 9 games. How should everyone expect this division to finish?
I think I'm just gonna jump on the wagon now. I got the Lions winning it. I'm a big believer in Dan Campbell. We've been saying since I got on this show with y'all that he's a coach that you love to play with, and all that rah rah and stuff like that. I think he's doing it the right way up there. I don't know if it's like that anymore because I know some of the coaches have left. But when I was watching, they were on Hard Knocks 2 years ago, so I'm sure a lot of it has changed.
Mhm.
But they were saying collectively, all of their coaches had like 80 years of NFL experience between coaching and playing. So I mean, they know what they're doing up there. I think that a lot of people, even myself, were very, very hard on them when they went and drafted Jamar Gibbs so high overall, but then they went and got rid of Swift, so it kind of made sense. I've heard that he's basically unguardable so thus far in practice and stuff. I think Jared Goff has taken a lot of big steps, and I think that they will be more than formidable this year, especially after when Jameson Williams comes back after his suspension. Their offense last year was putting up damn near like 35, 40 points a game at one point. So they've improved on their defense. I have them. Then I have the Vikings falling to second, not too far behind. I just don't think that they've done a whole lot to improve. They went and got Jordan Addison to pair with Justin Jefferson and Hawkinson, but I mean, getting rid of somebody as dynamic as Dalvin Cook, even if you have a good backup in Alexander Madison behind him, I just don't see that being as just a plug and play type thing for a full year. He's done it when Dalvin Cook was out for a game or two, but I just don't see it happening or see it being a for sure fix for the full year. I got the Bears coming in third. I think that Justin Jefferson will take a big leap, not necessarily like a Jalen Hurts leap, but I think that we're seeing a trend lately here where a quarterback plays, subpar or not so good or whatever, and then they go out and they get him a bona fide number one receiver and they, you know, take off. Just like I said, um, Jalen Hurts did before. So I think them going out and getting DJ Moore for him will help a lot. I think they want to get back to this Monsters of the Midway situation. They've improved their defense, going to get Tremaine Edmonds and keeping a lot of their own players. And then finally, I got the Packers falling all the way to the bottom. I think that what we've been talking about for a while now is finally coming to fruition. This Jordan Love pick is going to haunt them forever. I've seen Packers pages on Instagram talking about, how mad people are going to be that the Packers basically are going from franchise quarterback to franchise quarterback. I can tell you right now, this is not a Favre to Rodgers situation. Jordan Love may be formidable, but I just don't see him being able to keep them above water. Their defense is really good, but their defense is also aging. And they have a young receiving core. They still have Aaron Jones, a decent offensive line, but I just think that, like I said, they have had opportunities to improve this team a lot of different ways, and going to getting backup quarterbacks when you still got a franchise quarterback at the helm, and not drafting a wide receiver in the first round since forever. Like I said, they do have talent on there, so if they were to finish higher, I wouldn't be surprised. They have a good head coach as well, but I just think the Bears have done just enough to squeak past them, even if it is just for third place. How about you, Kevin?
Well, you pretty much said everything I was going to say. Only difference is I switched the Vikings and the Lions. I got the Vikings finishing first and the Lions coming in second. I am a believer in Dan Campbell, and I do like what he's put together. I still think it's the Vikings division to lose first. Yeah, they got rid of Dalvin Cook, but look how long it took him to get a job. So they might have saw something in there that other teams were seeing, and that's why they let him go. The Bears, I got them in third. I think Eberflus and the management put together something good for Justin Fields, but like you said, I think they're going back to the Monsters of the Midway. And then the Packers, I think they're just lost right now after getting rid of Rodgers and going with Jordan Love. I never liked that Jordan Love pick. And the fact that now we're going to see what he can do, I just don't see it happening.
Kevin, I've been waiting all summer for you to say the Bears at number one.
The Bears. No, I would not put the Bears number one. I'm a Bears
All
fan,
right.
but I'm a realist.
Yeah, there we
Hey,
go.
hey, look what I picked the Bengals to take the North instead of the
Oh,
Ravens.
so did I. So did I.
And I
As
mean,
did
But
I.
look,
until somebody knocks them off,
for
I
sure.
gotta go with them.
I'm gonna shock the world, and I'm not a Jordan Love fan. Well, I haven't seen enough, but I think Green Bay's gonna slide back into one.
Think
I
so?
got the Lions at 2, the Vikings at 3, and the Bears at 4. I remember Durp being very vocal about the Packers receivers coming to light last year, especially Romeo Dobbs.
Mhm.
Um, and then I was a big fan of Christian Watson coming out of school. Just seeing his tape there right after the draft and everything. Of course, they still got one of y'all mentioned Jones. They still have AJ Dillon as well. The coach is still there, Matt LaFleur. Jair Alexander is still on defense. Uh, y'all both mentioned how good their defense is. Of course, again, they're aging, but they have invested a lot of draft picks on that side of the ball over the last couple of years. I just see them sliding back into number one. The Lions, I think, again, Dirk, going back to what you said before, they're one of those teams that can they handle success? Will Jared Goff be able to continue off of his league leading touchdown to interception rate last year? That defense, as the offense, started wowing people last year, 30 points per game, leading the league in scoring offense for pretty much the first 8 weeks or so. They was giving up just as much on defense. Yes, I know Aiden Hutchinson is good. Um, I have them. I think they'll improve off of last year, but I'm just not gonna pick them just yet. I think the Vikings every year Kirk Cousins has been there. It's been like, can we trust this guy? Can we trust this guy? I like the addition of Jordan Addison there to go alongside JJ. I call him Mr. 11 because he's like, or Mr. One, whatever you want to call it, because he's always double digit receptions, 10 plus receptions, and over 100 yards. It seems like damn near every game he's out there. But the Bears, I like the additions they made, but I just think that they need a little bit more time. I I think Matt Eberflus could be on the hot seat this year. Um, I like the defense. They didn't lose a step besides, even though giving up a lot of players in the linebacker position over the last couple of years. Thank you for Roquan Smith, by the way. But I think they just need a little bit more time before I can pick them. I know I'm crazy. I know.
My only question with the Packers is that offensive line going to keep Jordan Love upright? But
True.
they don't have the gunslinger back there anymore.
Bakhtiari's staying in the saddle. They say he ain't going nowhere.
Right, but I'm just saying, right.
He can't stay healthy now to save his
Yeah, I
life.
know.
That's
right.
the only problem because Rodgers could pick up defense apart. Is Jordan Love going to have that same insight?
And that's the thing. I agree. I haven't seen enough from him, nor do I. I agree with Durp in a sense that it could come back to haunt them, but I haven't seen success sustained in Detroit. We know there's questions at the quarterback position with Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? We know he's gonna put up some stats, but can he win those critical games, those primetime games? They always talk about it. Of course, they're on the schedule. So and the Bears again, I just think they need a little bit more time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with you. The Bears being last, they could be a third, they could be in last. They made some improvements, but they're not going to be world beaters.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see them
I
winning
agree.
7. I could see them winning 7 games.
Yeah, I don't think this will be a bad division for sure. I definitely agree with you there, Kevin. Yeah,
I can see them being 7-9. I can see them only winning 6. I could see them only winning 5. It's just going to be how they put it all together.
Gotcha. All right. Heading to the South, a division that'll feature a new starting quarterback for each team, the NFC South, of course. Here's how I see it ending. I've got the Saints winning it. I think a lot of people probably do. A sleeper pick, the Panthers at number 2, Falcons at 3, and the Bucks at 4. Real quick.
You read my news, didn't you?
Yes, of course.
You read my news all the way from Texas, didn't you? Yeah.
But Derek Carr, I'm hoping that he doesn't throw as many interceptions as last year. He has the best defense that he's ever played with in his pro career. They should no reason why they should not win this division for sure. Carolina, my surprise team again. I think if Bryce Young can just manage the games for them, they'll be all right. You got guys like Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, Adam Thielen, Hayden Hurst, Brian Burns is a very underrated linebacker out there. J.C. Horn, Von Bell. You got coaches coming in with D'Angelo Hall, Josh McCown. I know Josh McCown wasn't a good quarterback, everyone. I know that, but he's been, he has some coaching experience, so I think that'll help the young quarterback out there. And then the Falcons at 3, I think that Arthur Smith and Desmond Ritter could be out the door if they don't win games this year. I know Desmond Ritter's just getting his shot, but he did have a couple games last year to prove it, and it wasn't exactly lighting it up. Of course, I know he was a rookie 3rd-round pick, yes. But Bijan Robinson should do his thing out there. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and they've added some names on defense as well. Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree, Jesse Bates. I know Jeff Okuda is there now. He didn't exactly have the best start to his career, but he's there. But they do have themselves a damn good kicker in Young Hung Koo. So they'll win some games out there, but I don't think they have enough. And then the Bucks at 4. Simply enough, it's just the quarterback position for me. I mean, you go from Tom Brady to Kyle Trask and or Baker Mayfield out there. I mean, does anybody believe in them? I don't think so. So, Durp, what do you see this division panning out as?
I I mean, basically the same thing. I think that for a while, I was thinking that the Panthers were going to surprise and win this division, which I still think that they could.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
that they, depending on how Bryce Young performs, they're going to have receivers step up like crazy. With them losing DJ Moore, but I think that given the right situation and everything, I think that with Bryce Young, things could go well for them. Right now, as of right now, I have it as the Saints division to lose. They're a very veteran led team, everywhere from the quarterback position to the linebacker position to the edge rushers. Just about everyone is a couple years deep, so they know what it takes to win in this league. I think the only thing that could hold them back possibly is their head coach and the play calling. But we spoke on it before or last week, Brandon, where a lot of people are very quick to shit on Derek Carr very fast, but you don't realize in the 10 years that he was there, the shit that he had to deal with. Whether it be changing of head coaches, changing of play calling, changing of the players around him, the whole Gruden situation, and he stuck it out the entire time, and now he's in a new position where he's just surrounded by a plethora of playmakers from the tight end position to can Michael Thomas can come back to being half the guy that he was and be a wide receiver too now under Chris Olave. And then to have, I know Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended for the first three, but you got Kamara, you got a really good defense. So, like I said, I think as of right now, this is their division to lose. And coming in number two, I do have the Panthers. Like I said, I think that this division could possibly come down to one or two games, whether that be division games or just wins overall. I think it's really a toss up. I think this will probably be one of the worst divisions in football. Probably 10 or 11 wins will probably give you the championship of the NFC South. Coming in third, I got the Falcons just because it's so many questions here. I do think that Desmond Ritter is good. I think that they should have gave him the reins earlier. Maybe they just didn't want to take it away from Marcus Mariota until they told him, and then Marcus Mariota left and all that nonsense. I think getting Bijan is either going to it's one of those situations where you're either going to look like the smartest guy ever or you're going to look like a dumbass in 5 or 6 years, especially how running backs are being treated right now. One of the main questions that I have for the Falcons is when are y'all going to figure out how you want to use Kyle Pitts? I mean, because he's a wide receiver playing tight end. He's at most of the time, a lot of times, he's the most athletic person on the field at tight end, and that's crazy. So you need to get him the ball more. You need to figure out different ways to use him. And they're another team where I think that maybe it's the coaching that's holding them back. And number four, I have the Bucks for the exact same reasons that Brandon said. They have a lot of good veterans and Mike Evans, who I think is a first ballot Hall of Famer, Chris Godwin, and all the studs that they have on defense. But then it all comes back to that quarterback position. I don't know if there's ever been a bigger fall off the cliff from going from the greatest quarterback to ever play to Baker Mayfield. And then they announced today that he's going to be the week one starter. And it's like, okay, how long is that going to last? But even when that blows up in your face, then you have to go to Kyle Trask. So it's like, I don't see this team winning more than 5 or 6 games unless their defense can be, a top 2 unit in the whole league. What you got, Kev?
Well, I mean, I pretty much have the Saints, Panthers, Falcons, and Bucks, and like I said, it's going to come down to quarterback play. For me, I think the Saints, experience. I think the Saints have got a little bit more of both. I have some faith in the Panthers. I can see them doing good this year. I just think it's going to be the Saints team, the Saints the Saints division to win. As far as the Falcons and the Bucks, I'm not sold on anything they've done in the offseason. I just think it's going to be I think it's just going to be a 2-horse race, and then the Falcons and the Bucks coming up the rear.
Got you. All right. On a lighter note, I forgot to mention this at the top of the show. Of course, we probably all heard the father of Tennessee Titans corner, defensive back Caleb Farley. He died in an explosion Tuesday morning. 61 years old. Of course, we send our thoughts and prayers to the Farley family for sure.
Definitely.
And I know Farley came out of Virginia Tech, Durp, so I'm sure that's
Yes, sir.
Near and dear to your heart. Got anything real quick or
Just my condolences to it. I mean, that's
definitely,
and
definitely.
then
All right. So we're going to turn the page then. The NFC West. Last year, the Seahawks made some noise while the previous champs, excuse me, the previous Super Bowl champs and the Rams, they only won 5 games. What will this division look like in January, Kevin?
I have it 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals. I think I think this 49ers a division to win, though the Seahawks did make some interesting they signed Sal Cannella, they signed running back Roger Thompson both in the offseason to bolster that offensive line. But I didn't see much on defense. I mean, they signed Derek Hall and Jacob Sykes, but their defense seemed like seemed like last year it was their bread and butter. But last year it was kind of what was holding them back. So I have it 49ers, Seahawks, the Rams. I don't know. I mean, it's like they fell off the wagon after that Super Bowl win, and with their handcuffs in the draft, I don't know if I can see them having more than maybe 7 wins, 8 wins this year. And the Cardinals, that team's just a dumpster fire right now. They don't know who their quarterback is. They don't know when Kyler Murray's going to come back, and when he comes back. And so right now, everybody saying, well, they still have Hollywood Brown, but if you ain't got nobody to throw to him, he ain't going to be happy, and he's going to pitch a fit, and he's going to stomp his toes. And that offensive line is just a dumpster fire right now. They're not happy with the way he's been playing. The coaches even came out and said that they have no unity on that on their offensive line right now. So I just don't see the Cardinals doing anything in that division. So I have it 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals. What about what about you, Durp? What do you have it?
Yeah, everything you said. I think that's exactly how this division will fall. The Brock Purdy situation. He's out there playing in the preseason game. He looked pretty good. A lot of dump off passes and stuff like that. But he's just getting that arm warmed up and ready for action. One thing that I will say is I watched a little bit of that preseason game, and it's just insane the way that Shanahan is able to draw these plays up and get such big name players to be so fucking wide open on these plays. Like,
Mhm.
they come
Yeah.
out there, and I don't know if the other team had been. I think they were playing the Broncos. I don't know if they had been playing all of their defensive starters or whatever it was, but they come out there and Brock Purdy, fakes a handoff. The whole offense will slide to the right, and then you got Deebo Samuel coming
Yep.
across. And when he caught the ball, the closest person to him was the guy running the concession stands. And I'm like, how do you draw this up week in and week out? So I think that plays such a big role in this team. I think as long as Brock Purdy and Kittle and these other guys can stay healthy, Chris McCaffrey, I think that this division, I don't want to say necessarily a cakewalk because this division is kind of a lot like the NFC East, where it's like no matter what your record is, they always play each other hard. But I think if they can avoid the injury bug, which it's been plaguing them for a while, I think that they'll. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to say have no problem winning this division, but I think they'll win it. Coming in second, I got the Seahawks. I think it's just a matter of they're a really good team, but it's like, you're like the little brother. You're a really good team, but you just have that your big brother in the 49ers that it's just so hard for you to beat. I just don't see them being able to take the reins from such the powerhouse that the 49ers is, their defense and all that. I just seen that the receiver that they got in Jigba, he broke his wrist against us. He's having surgery, so that's going to take a damper on. I'm pretty sure they were trying to spread defenses out and all that. So I don't know how long he'll be out, but Mr. Reliable, Tyler Lockett is still there. DK is still there. If Geno can play, you know, anywhere near as good as he played last year, they'll still be a formidable team. Coming in third, I got the Rams. And the only reason I got them coming in third is because somebody has to come fourth, and that would be the Cardinals. the Rams remind me of like a comment you see every 100 years. Like they were saying they were saying fuck it to all the fuck these picks and all this other shit, and it's catching up with them in the worst way. Like they have to hope and pray that Matthew Stafford can come back and play the way that he's playing was playing before when they won the Super Bowl. But the injury that he got is the injury, and I believe it's in his elbow, and it's
Yeah.
an injury that a lot of baseball players get, and when they come back, they're just not the same. So
He
we'll
had to get
see.
Tommy John surgery, didn't he?
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then, you have Aaron Donald, who a lot of people say is the greatest defensive player ever, but once again, he's getting up there in years. You don't have Jalen Ramsey anymore to apply the pressure in the back end to, take the bad
Yep.
throws that Aaron Donald causes. Their running back situation, I mean, one week their starter is Cam Akers, the next week you don't even know who it is. I still do believe in Sean McVay, but I just think that this team kind of, like I said, they went for it all. They got it all. Good for them, but they're like fizzling out in the worst way. And like I said, somebody has to come in fourth, and Kevin couldn't have put it any better. The Cardinals are a complete dumpster fire. Like I said, I don't see any possibility where Kyler Murray plays this year because I've said it 100 times in here. By the time he comes back, it'll be what, week 10, week something like. They're gonna win they're gonna have like one win on the year. So why would I go out there and get hurt all over again? Oh, and y'all got rid of D-Hop. So like it it just doesn't make sense. I think that that team's going to look a lot different next year. People are already talking about them having the first and the second pick this year because of the Texans thing, and in that situation, like, do you go and get Caleb from USC? And you do the whole situation. You just re-signed Kyler, so I think that they have. It's going to be tough to be a Cardinals fan for a couple of years. I think
they might play so bad they might have the first, second, and third pick. That's out of pity.
I'll tell y'all what, Undisputed on Fox is going through an overhaul right now, but we could never land jobs on there in the last two divisions because we all agreed on the South and the West. I'm going right with y'all. 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals, everyone. Y'all hit on just about everything. I'll just add a couple things real quick. As far as Seattle goes, it's looking good. I didn't hear about that whole JSN injury. So that definitely plays into a factor into them heading into week one. But I do love their running backs, Kenneth Walker III and Charbonnet out there. And then the Rams, I think their offense is going to be really good. You know what I'm saying? Durp hit on a lot of points on their defense, besides Aaron Donald. Really don't know who else is out there. But I like the fact that Matt Stafford is coming back, obviously. Of course, they have Mr. Triple Crown of 2021, Cooper Kupp. But I really like the pickup of Demarcus Robinson. As a Baltimore fan, I really wanted him on the field last year. Like, I was yelling and screaming at the TV sometimes, like going throwback to Keyshawn Johnson. Just give him the damn ball. Just give him the damn ball because the guy tends to score when he has the ball in his hands. Former Kansas City player, so we know he knows how to win. But yeah, y'all get it right top to bottom. I definitely agree. So, but a quick one more thing before we turn the page to Seattle. Like, I remember heading into last year, I went on tape on my other podcast stating that Seattle was going to be the worst team in the league. Like, I thought that they went in with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. I kind of thought of that situation of like Baker and Kyle Trask down in Tampa. The only thing is, like Durp said, it wasn't that huge drop off from the GOAT or the greatest of all time down to them. But it was like, damn, y'all went from Russell Wilson to this. But they really surprised people. So, I mean, honestly, the Rams and the Cardinals, if you're looking at what Seattle did last year, you might have some hope. But I think Seattle definitely was a more talented team heading into last year than these two teams are on the bottom that we all predict for sure.
See, I think the situation with that is that with Geno, when he was the starter in New York, and then he got punched in the jaw in the locker room and he broke his jaw and then he couldn't play or whatever. And then I think right after that he left and he went to the Giants, right? Mm-hmm. And then he was the backup to Eli Manning and he learned from Eli Manning. Then he left there and he went to he came to Seattle, right? He went straight to Seattle.
Yep.
And then
I
he
believe so.
learned and then he learned under Russ, and he took what he learned from Eli and he learned from Russ, two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks,
Yep.
and he applied that and he did that. I just don't think that Baker's that guy. I don't think that he's that guy. I think that he sat behind whoever he sat behind, and then basically was just like, oh, I used to be, I was the first overall pick. I was the guy when I was at Oklahoma. So I'm not saying that he doesn't have any work ethic, because he's a starter in the NFL and I'm not. So obviously he has something. But I just feel like Gino with the whole they wrote me off, but I didn't write back shit. Like he played with like a chip on his shoulder type situation. Whereas every time that you see Baker or whatever, he basically, I don't want to say making excuses or anything like that, but it's never, I don't really ever see it with Baker where it's like, okay, this happened, now I'm going to learn from it. It's like he just goes out. I seen the thing earlier. I think since he's been drafted, Baker Mayfield has the most interceptions out of anybody. I think he has like 64, and then right behind him is Josh Allen with 60. So it's just, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
they. I just feel like Gino learned from his mistakes and then took advantage, in which Baker could prove me wrong, but I just don't see it happening in the same regard that it did for Gino.
Understood. For sure.
Plus, Josh Allen learned how to become a franchise quarterback. I don't ever see that in a Baker.
Yeah, not at this rate.
Not at this rate, anyway.
All right. NFC East, everyone. Durp's division, they belonged to the Eagles last year, but anybody that watches football knows that'll likely change in 2023. Durp, do you have your team taking a leap into first place?
Well, nobody has repeated in the NFC East since 2004, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this year would make 20 years that that's happened. But just like the just like the Ravens preseason record had to come to an end, I believe that record will also come to an end. I do have the Eagles repeating as number one in this division, not by much, a game or two. I don't think there's all that much that separates us from the Eagles, but I think that if you were to look for a team to have a better offseason, it would be hard to do. Granted, they lost a lot of players, but it's like for every player that they lost, they brought in somebody who can do the same job, but it's just younger. So they, restocked on all the players that they had lost. They brought back their own guys that they knew that they wanted. They're out here making moves like crazy because of Howie, and I just think that they are hungry. They're ready. I like Jalen Hurts from even when he was back in college. I was upset when he ended up going to the Eagles. I thought they weren't going to use him. They were using him as like a gadget player and stuff like that. But now he's really coming to his own. Like I said earlier, after they got him AJ Brown. I think that they're one of those teams, kind of like the Bengals, where they're just an embarrassment of riches, because they have two wide receiver ones. I think that Smith and Brown are both. They could go to any team and be a wide receiver one, just like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So they're gonna have a top, I don't know, 6 to 8 defense probably. They're gonna score points. They're gonna have a top rushing attack. It's just gonna be hard to stop them and put up points on them. And that's what this game is all about. So I do have them finishing first. I have us coming in second. I've looked at our schedule a bunch of times. I think we've won 12 games in the last 2 years, so I think we'll win probably 10 or 11, maybe 12 again if things go our way. We don't really have too many questions right now, and we're kind of laid back. So that's the way I like it. As long as Dak can clean up the interceptions and take better care of the ball, then I think that we'll be in a lot of games. And I have us having the best defense in the entire league. I think by the time last year we led the league in takeaways, and I think we'll do it. We'll do the same thing again. We have playmakers at every position, so I don't see anyone having a better defense than us. Whether it could be the Eagles, it could be the 49ers, Browns, some like that, but I like our chances. Um, Coming in third, I have the Giants. Uh, I like what Dayball is doing over there, and I think that a lot of people aren't talking about how big of an addition that Darren Waller is going to be to this team. They've been looking for a go-to guy for a long, long time, and I think that they finally got it. As long as he can stay healthy, even in the preseason, he was, he's catching the ball over guys, catching the ball between guys. He's out there. He's looking, like he did when he was healthy on the Raiders. Saquon still Saquon. Their offensive line has improved. They've gotten better on defense with Thibodeau and Sexy Dexy and all those guys. So I think that they're taking more and more steps in the right direction, which I can't say that I like, but it's good for football, I guess. So I have them in third, and then coming in fourth. Like I said, with the NFC West, somebody has to come in fourth. I don't think it'll be that much of a discrepancy between third and fourth this year. How three of the teams in this division went to the playoffs. I don't necessarily think that'll happen, but I think that the Commanders or the Giants could flip flop. Um, I think the over and under for them right now is like 6.5 games. And what did they win last year? 6, 7, something
Yeah.
like that. So getting rid of Dan Snyder has
8.
to 8. Okay, so getting rid of Dan Snyder has to at least equate for one game. So okay, if they won 8 games, I'll give them. I could see them winning 8 again or 9. I think that this team is really looking for a culture change and looking for an identity. I like a lot of their players. I've been on here and I've talked a million times about Terry McLaurin. I think he's one of the best and underrated receivers in the league. They have to finish. They have to figure out two very important positions, and that's their offensive line and their tight end. And I don't really know if they've done a whole lot to figure that situation out necessarily. They drafted decent. I was on here talking about the guy Forbes beforehand. I thought that he would go, early second or something like that, taking him as early as they did, especially when like Porter was on the board. I didn't really understand that, but we'll see how that works out. And I think a lot of it'll come down to Sam Howell, and not necessarily how Sam Howell performs, because I think that he owns like every record at North Carolina for a reason as far as passing goes. But it's just like y'all were talking about with Jordan Love. Can you keep him upright? Is he going to have time to make a third and fourth read when the first and second aren't there? I'm not necessarily sure that that's going to be possible. They've had that problem for years. Their defense is always around top 10 unit every year, no matter how bad they are. But I think that their offense is going to stall a couple times, even with Eric Bieniemy. And then I think that that'll be a whole nother situation, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to be calling for Ron Rivera to be gone, Eric Bieniemy to be, So I still think that there could be drama on the horizon, even though Dan Snyder is gone. But to answer your question, yes, I do have the Eagles repeating.
Kevin,
Oh,
you.
you done? Okay, now.
Sorry.
Now I have the Eagles repeating number 1 and 2. The only reason I couldn't pick the Cowboys as much as 1 and 2 is because of their injuries. I mean, with with what they've dealt with in the offseason, I think that can hinder them a little bit. And then also losing your offensive lineman, and then God, oh, why can't I never remember his name? The one's holding out Zach something, I cannot remember his name.
Martin.
Yeah, Zach Martin holding out, and then you guys doing Chua. It's just hard for me to pick them to come number 1. But like you said
Zach
as well,
Martin's back though.
is he back? Is he back? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, then came back last week, I think.
Okay. But as far as discrepancy, I can't see. I mean, even if you do come in, Cowboys come in number 2, I can't see it being more 1 and maybe 2 games behind the Eagles. The Giants and the Commanders, you can flip flop them. I have Giants 3, Commanders 4, but the only reason I have that is because the Commanders right now, I feel like after seeing that game versus the Ravens when they were playing their number 1s against their number 2s, if that's the way they're going to play all season, they're in trouble. Because they won the game, but they played 3/4 of their number 1s against air 2s and 3s. And they had to win with the last second field goal. The Giants, what's concerning me with them right now is same issue that you said with the Commanders. Are they going to keep Daniel Jones upright? Because right now they said in every preseason game they've been in and in practices they've just been dominated. They've got no unity, and they're infighting when who's supposed to do what on each assignment. And without that, Daniel Jones is not going to be able to read a defense. And same thing with the Commanders with Sam Howell. Can he be upright? Is that offensive line going to be able to allow him to make his in-depth reads like he was able to in college? Because if not, then I don't see them winning that many games. Plus, like I said, for the Commanders, this is I think not only for the players, but this is all audition for the coaches because you got the new ownership. And even Magic Johnson came out in the preseason game yesterday and said, I don't invest in for ego, I invest for winning. If you can't do that, you'd have no place on this team. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so I have Eagles 1, Cowboys, you can say 1A or 2, Giants 3, Commanders 3A or 4. Like I said, either one of any of them could flip flop. Giants or Commanders or Cowboys Eagles. What about you,
Derp, I just
Brand?
want to, yeah, I just want to know, Derp, what the hell would you have said if the Ravens had won last night on your intro? Because I mean, that was a very good analogy, but damn.
What? It's the truth.
It came to
Yeah,
me
I
in a
know.
dream.
But yeah, um, looking at my standings, I have Eagles 1, Giants 2, Cowboys 3, Commanders 4. I agree with y'all. It could go any way, I think, past 1. The Eagles do it the old school way. They run the ball. Over the last couple of years, they've been close to, if not over, 200 yards per game at some point during the season on the ground. And again, they get after the quarterback. 70 sacks last year. Four guys with double-digit sacks. Okay. The Giants. I still don't trust Daniel Jones. I've said this before. I don't know if I said it on here, but I've said it before that I've lost trust in Daniel Jones a long time ago, and he absolutely put the knife in my back. Monday Night Football back in 2021, I think it was, against the Bucks down in Tampa. He was absolutely horrendous. And I said, the hell with this. I don't care if he goes win the Super Bowl. Still don't believe in him. But Saquon Barkley is back in the
That's tough.
saddle, like y'all said. Darren Waller, great pickup. Defense was solid last year. Kayvon Thibodeau, I know it's preseason, but against the Panthers, this guy was all over the place. I missed a little bit of that game, but I came in and it was like every time I looked up, number 5 was in the backfield. And, you know, the stats didn't show up for it, but he was all over the place. And we know what he did last year. Very, very good pickup. And I think he'll only improve heading into year 2. And I like the young corner Banks from Maryland, Kevin
Mm.
School there in College
Yep.
Park. So, yeah, I really like the Giants on
Yeah, we
paper.
got a couple boys this year that are standing out.
Yep. And then the Cowboys, again, this could go. I could easily see them finishing number 2. I think again this will be a very close division. Um, I do like the running back change there. Of course, you know I still have in my mind the last play of the playoffs. I just hope Mike McCarthy, the first play of this season, he does something electric to kind of get Cowboys fans and the whole NFL eased from that moment from last year in the playoffs and how that finished. But Washington, man, I know, like Kevin said, they were playing against our 2s and 3s, but that first half frustrated me because they were going up and down the field on us. Sam
Jahan
Howell,
Dotson.
yes, Sam Howell damn near looked like Joe Theismann. Okay, like he had himself a night last night. But yeah, I was really not sold on him until last night. Again, it was against our backups. It was preseason. I know, but he looked very good. And at the end of the day, you got to get it done on the field. And what he did last night is he got it done on the field. So I got to give a little bit more respect to him. Very talented team out there. 3 very good receivers, like Durp said. I'm very high on Scary Terry. They have 2 good running backs. They have a decent tight end. You know, he doesn't make a lot of noise, but he's no scrub. Okay. And then those guys on defense, at least the front 4, can definitely get after the quarterback. My concern for the Commanders the last couple of years have been the linebacker and secondary. And of course, last night they just had an awesome play in the left corner of the end zone to pick off was it Josh Johnson there. We were driving down the field, getting ready to score, and they just made an awesome play. But then I thought about it. James Prochet was the receiver on that play, and we all know how I feel about him. He should have been gone.
Oh, he's
the
trash in a
day
can, man.
he drives me crazy the last couple.
He's trash in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, definitely last year he drove me crazy. But yeah, the Commanders, very good team. I think we'll get to the whole coach situation in a few minutes, but I do think there's some pressure going in on him this coming year. But yeah, Philly at number one. Again, think it'll be very close. The New York Giants at 2, Cowboys at 3, Commanders at 4. But those 2, 3, and 4 could easily swap. I think, especially 2 and 3, the Giants and Commanders for sure. All right, to the guys calling the shots. Somebody had something else?
No, I was just gonna say another thing about the Giants is they got a kid out of Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt.
Yes. Oh man, he
Yeah.
was showing off.
Yes,
He was showing off. That's
he was good.
He's got
Yeah.
like low end 4.3 speed. I was
Man,
hoping
forgot
that he
about
would
him.
fall. Yeah, I was hoping that he would fall to the Cowboys at like second round or something like that. And then when he went there, I was like, fuck, here we go. It's like the OBJ shit all over again. But I think that he's going to be very good for them.
Yes.
And I just seen a thing, just a stat sheet the other day for Daniel Jones, and I feel like a lot of people have been fooled into thinking that like, yeah, he's bad, but like he's improving every year or whatever. His rookie year, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and then since then he hasn't went over 16 touchdowns, but he has had double digits interceptions again. I mean, the interceptions are going down. 2 years ago it was 7.
So are the fumbles
Last
too.
year, 7 and 5, but the touchdowns are only 10 and 15. So it's like, are you being more careful or are you just being too careful? So Brian Dable worked his magic with Josh Allen. I think a lot of people were not necessarily saying that he was a bust, but they were wanting more from him, and he's been regarded as a top 5 quarterback since then. Ever since Brian Dable was able to work his magic on him, but I'm not, like you said, I've never been sold on Daniel Jones. I don't understand why you would take a quarterback out of a basketball school like Duke. I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how this all pans out. And I'm gonna remember that you have us third, Brandon. I remember that.
I'm sorry, you're gonna remember what?
That you have us finishing third in this division.
Oh, third. Okay, yeah. Got you. All right. So again, to the guys on the sidelines calling the shots, I want to know which of the coaches you two think are entering the last year with their teams. Durp, you're up first.
I mean, I feel like in the NFC, there's a couple I was doing, looking through, and I was writing them down, and then I just kept writing them down. I was like, I got to leave something for Kevin to say. So I'm just going to say in my division, I'm going to say Ron Rivera. I spoke on it before. I think a lot of people are a believer in Ron Rivera. And, it goes back to the finishing 15-1 days back in Carolina, going to the Super Bowl and everything like that. But he seems like a very, very cool, respectable guy. I know he played football and everything like that, but it just hasn't clicked. I mean, he's 22, 27 and 1, 0-1 in the playoffs. I feel like, Eric Bieniemy is there for a reason. And it's not just to be their offensive coordinator. He knew damn well if he stayed in KC, as long as number 15 was throwing the ball, Andy Reid's not going to leave no time soon. Why would you? He has the chance to go down as possibly the greatest coach ever if he just keeps doing it. I mean, I know it's Bill Belichick, but if he just keeps doing it. So he said, okay, let me go down to Washington where it's already rocky. And, if Ron Rivera is gone, then Eric Bieniemy's right there.
Yep.
And then I have my own coach in Mike McCarthy. We've finished 12-5 the last 2 years. I was very rough. I never liked the hiring to begin with, but the more that he's been there, I've kind of grown to, I wouldn't say like him being our head coach, but I don't necessarily hate it. I mean, it's I don't know. Now that Kellen Moore's gone and everything, we'll see how things go. He's doing the play calling, but usually you think of the Cowboys, you think of we have star players, we have big name players and things like that. We have for the last couple of years. Like I said, we've been 12-5 back to back years. Not many teams can say that, but going 12-5 last 2 years, and his overall record is 30-20. So it just, I don't know. I feel like something's missing there. And as long as I've been a fan of the Cowboys, I have learned that you can never listen to what Jerry Jones says out of his mouth, because he said, "Oh, I want him to be here as long as Tom Landry was here," and all this other shit. Like, come on now. Like, who are you trying to fool?
Yep.
And I clear as day, when damn, now I'm blanking after I said clear as day. When Wade Phillips was our head coach.
Okay.
Wade Phillips was our head coach, and we were on like a losing streak, and Jerry Jones came out and he said his job is not in jeopardy. You don't have anything to worry about. 2 weeks later, Jason Garrett was our head coach. So, Jerry Jones expects winning. He wants it. We haven't done it in the past 27 years or some shit. So I think as stacked as this team is, I feel like Jerry Jones is at the part where it's like, if you can't win for us, I will find somebody who can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm going to touch on. I'm just going to stay in my division. What do you think, Kevin?
Well, I'm glad I wrote down a couple because I had McCarthy and Rivera as my 1 and 2. But I got one that you guys might not. You might look at me and think I got 3 heads, but Todd Bowles.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
For the Buccaneers, and I'll tell you why. Because like I said, when he was with the Jets, he went 24-40. His overall record as a coach is 34-50, and they did not have a winning record last year. They lost by 17 points in the playoffs. It cost. He was able to get another year, but it also cost Byron Leftwich his job. And I just think the last 2 seasons were just too underwhelming for him. I think for them this year, if it's not playoff, it's bust. And the bad part about that is when you're got either Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield starting for you this season, you can't really improve on your roster. Matter of fact, your roster's worse. I can see him being a lame duck coach for the season. I can see him. And the other one, it's my guy for the Bears, Eberflus, because again, they didn't really do much to improve on what they had. The Bears have been the Bears have continued even bringing him in, considering the losing mentality. He's brought it over some, but the defense. I mean, the Bears are used to having a good defense, no matter what. They've always had a good ranking defense, and the defense has not been what they expected to be. Not in Chicago, and he has not delivered. He has not elevated any players. He hasn't delivered on any defensive on any of the defense, and he hasn't really elevated the offense much either. So, yeah, I can see Todd Bowles and Eberflus both going at the end of the season.
Got you. I got 2 guys that y'all mentioned, and I'm still going to touch on them as well as a third guy that y'all didn't. Real quick, Ron Rivera. I think he's been on the hot seat the past few years. He redeemed himself a little bit last year, in my opinion, because they were winning some games down the stretch, but there's new ownership. So there's a fresh perspective on how things should go. I think Harris will definitely want to put a stamp on his team, especially if they do the Washington type things and start losing games there in DC. And Todd Bowles, like y'all mentioned, when Bruce Arians, when he said he was stepping down as head coach a few years ago, he noted how he left Todd Bowles with a good team, and I think that's why he said he wanted to stay on a little bit longer than he did. Tampa Bay, clearly they weren't a good team last year. They were saved by a shitty division. Very talented team, but not a good one. Bowles, again, like Kevin, one of y'all said, he never seems to have a good quarterback when he's a head coach. So again, Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, yeah, I don't see him making out of the season down there, but we'll see. And then Arthur Smith in Atlanta, uh, another guy I feel like that's been on the hot seat the past few
I never thought
seasons.
about that.
Yep. Yeah, I think I've been eyeing him the last couple of years.
Yeah.
When he first got hired, they thought the offensive woes would go away, but I think he was the benefit of a future Hall of Fame running back and Derrick Henry as offensive coordinator. I think he got that job solely because of him, because he was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee. It's kind of like Nathaniel Hackett getting the head coaching position in Denver when he wasn't really calling plays out there. It was Matt LaFleur and A-Rod. So, yeah, I think he can also thank Young Ho Koo for saving his job over the past few seasons. He's definitely had a couple of game winners there for Atlanta. But yeah, the seat is definitely hot in hot Atlanta for one Arthur Smith.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Are you good?
No, I was done. Yep. That
What
was
about Allen in New Orleans?
it.
You think he could be?
Yeah,
Because
it could be a little warm.
yeah, because I mean they won 7-10 last year. Their defense didn't play up to par. And remember, his head coaching record is 15-38.
Yeah.
And he does have a tendency of his teams not executing in critical situations. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
You definitely
But
got
it
a
was
point.
one that I was thinking of this year.
The whole NFC East is on the
Yeah.
chopping block. Damn it! No, the whole NFC South. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, Kevin, I was definitely thinking about that, especially at a point last year. And I think the one reason why I kind of laid back on those thoughts is because the reason why I thought it first, because I was like, yeah, they definitely want Sean Payton back down there because it just wasn't clicking, right? And then I remember in the press conference when Sean Payton said he was stepping away or whatever, it was either him or the owner, Georgia Benson, I believe her name is. They was like, this is not going to be, we're not going to bring on Dennis Allen to be a 1 year thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's got the job permanently. But again, that didn't necessarily say that if we start losing, we're going to get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? We're just basically not going to bring back Sean Payton to replace him with a struggling Dennis Allen. So yeah, I could see him definitely having a hot seat, a very talented team down there too. So if they don't start winning this year in a division that they should win, yeah, he could be on the hot seat as well. Go ahead.
And you heard, and Durp, you heard what your boy Stephen Jones said about Dallas, right?
What's that?
This year's AFC title game or bust.
Well, that's every
NFC title game or bust.
That's what, Stephen Allen came. He came out after the last preseason game, and they were asking him. He said with this team, it's either they should either make it to the AFC title game or at least the AFC title game, or it's considered a bad season.
Who are you talking about? You talking about Stephen Jones?
Stephen Jones.
Yeah, he's
Dallas,
just saying the wrong conference. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's no different than any other.
I meant to say NFC title game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
NFC title game or bust.
Yeah, I mean that's no different than every other year. I've been doing this for a long time, and I know how this goes. I'm not one of those Cowboys fans that every year is stomping saying this is our year. I'll believe it
I
when
know
I
you're
see
not.
it. I'm tired of getting my heart broken. I've seen this team finish anywhere from 4-12 to 13-3, and both of the results was the same exact thing. So
yeah, well, try being a Bears fan and come back. And
I'm good. I'm good off that.
Come back and talk to me after you've been suffering.
It's actually one of the main reasons I am a Cowboys fan, because I grew up watching my family watch the Redskins back then, Commanders now. And I remember just being little and being like, why do y'all cheer for this team that never wins games? I don't understand. Like, they would be screaming at the TV, go, whatever. And I come upstairs at like 6 years old and they've won this, Redskins score, and now they're only down by 2 touchdowns. It's like, I just didn't understand it. So that's one of the main reasons why I chose the Cowboys.
I did because I like Dion and I like Kelly.
Well, yeah. Well, Jason Witten had a lot to do with it also.
I hate to repeat myself before we leave, but Kevin, I thought with the Bears owner leaving the division, going to the Jets, one Aaron Rodgers, I thought for sure you picked the Bears and the NFC North.
Now they fucking they haven't they haven't done much. I mean, like I picked them to be third. Like I gave them the benefit they out there over the Packers, but no, they haven't done enough to go up into the Lions and Vikings category.
Yeah.
Neither on offense or on defense. And so
Don't the Bears and Packers play in week 1, I think?
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think I saw, and y'all probably seen it too. It's like stuff on Facebook, people commenting. It was like, if the Bears, if the Packers and Jordan Love beat the Bears week 1, like those Bears fans are going to be sick. Like they'll
Oh
be
yeah.
like,
I'm
damn, we about
probably
to go
gonna
through this for another however many
I'm
years.
probably gonna throw up if that happens.
If he beat y'all and say now there's a
Yeah.
new owner in town, that would be
Yeah, if he
crazy.
says now I'm your new daddy, I'm gonna be mad now.
Yeah,
Josh Harris ain't the only new owner in the league.
He's like meet Jordan Love now. I'm your stepdaddy. And so I'm like, oh Jesus Christ.
Oh man, good show, guys.
Yep.
Everyone, that's it for the NFC. Next week we'll have playoff predictions for both conferences, as well as Super Bowl predictions and the updated power rankings. Remember, the guys did it early in the off season. 1 through 5, 1 through 10. We'll do something, but one more week of preseason football, everyone, and then we'll be on to the real live action. Thanks everyone for listening to the Purple Order podcast with Durp and Kevin. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.
You guys, I won't be in town next week.